I don't remember who Jack is. But we're nearly at the end anyway, people. And plus, I really do need to reset my stream because it's getting fucking irritating. But yeah, we've got Skyrim Coin Replacer. This is the one that adds like Dwemer coins and stuff like that to the game. You find them all over the place. You've got Trade and Barter, overhauls and tweaks the merchant system in Skyrim. It's very worth using. It doesn't do anything major. It's just a lot of like little bits and pieces. If he's one of the new ones, go check Colourful. Actually, I'll have, as I'm on here, let's have a look, because it could be an actual Colourful Magic issue. I know that every now and then, whenever the Colourful Magic guy releases new people, I usually tend to wait a week or two before upgrading. Give him chance to, you know, fix the issues. But let's just have a quick look. No, it just seems to be a bunch of people whinging about the same stuff over and over again. But it might be worth, if you can tie down exactly what the problem is, you might want to actually mention that on the comments page, see if anyone can help you with that. Oh, okay then. Right, yeah, Trade and Barter, definitely worth using. It just tweaks and fixes a lot of the problems with the monetary system in Skyrim and just helps make it all make a lot more sense. Plus, with the MCM in there, you can add randomization to it, so you can randomize the amount of money that merchants have rather than every single merchant having the same amount of gold, you know. We got better fast travel, carriages and ships. Self-explanatory. It doesn't... This one just adds more carriages to the game. It doesn't add, like, you know, the wonderful little travelling and shit and all that crap, because they're just shit. They always fuck up your game. This just adds more carriages to the game. So, like, Riverwood now has a carriage. Winterhold now has a carriage. Everywhere now has a fucking carriage. And there's a few ships as well dotted around the world. We got better vampires because it's the best vampire mod. We got Moonlight Tales again. It's the best werewolf mod. We got Werewolf Perks Expanded, only because out of the 2 mods worth using, that one seems to be the best option for my choice. Aurora Standing Stones of Skyrim. Guess who made this one? Yeah, and I sign on. This guy's amazing. This is just his version of tweaking the standing stones. So, just as an example, now the Lordstone gives you the ability, Blood of Kings. Your attacks will deal increased damage at high health, but reduced damage at low health. And you get a power that you can use once a day to slam nearby enemies into the ground, dealing damage and rendering them helpless. Yeah. And he's overhauled all of the standing stones in Skyrim. So if you combine that with the circlet that you get by doing the Arthurian Wars quest, you know, the Dwemer one, you do the Arthurian Wars, you can find the Arthurian Forge, then you can go and make that circlet that allows you to have 2 standing stone abilities. Super powerful. And then we've got the autosave manager and dynamic difficulty. The autosave manager, because obviously do not ever use quick saves in Bethesda games, ever. Just don't do it. Ever. Turn off all autosaves and quick saves. The only way you should ever save is a full manual pushing escape, going to save. But this means that you can, but this, someone's created a mod where it will create a, in quotes, auto save, but what the mod is actually doing is pushing escape, going to save, clicking new for you. It just does all of that in a split second. I can't explain exactly why. It's a well-known thing that Bethesda autosaves and quick saves are fucking god-awful. Just don't use them. Dynamic difficulty is written by... I can't remember who did this one now. I know it's one of the big guys. Ah, Vivanto. Yeah. What else did he do? Vivanto did Immersive Beds, Dynamic Difficulty, Autosave. He's done a fair few for Oblivion and stuff as well. But Dynamic Difficulty, again, does exactly what it says on the tin. The more you play the game, the more the difficulty level will adjust. So you have the standard, you have the actual Skyrim. I'll tell you what, I am going to skin up while I talk to you because I'm going to go and be a dirty druggie. Yeah, because that's basically the end of my list. Now down here, all we've got is, these are just a few patches, like EFF compatibility patches and Ethereal 11 overhaul patches and more patches and blah, blah, blah. These down here are just for my own use. I've got like the Frostfall guide and Wirebash and stuff like that, just so I can keep an eye on the updates and things. Down here, I've got my custom patch, mod files. That's a very good question. Do you mean installed mods or ESPs? Because that's two different things. Alright, well, to answer your question, both ways, I am running, on the right hand side here, I have got 245 ESPs. That includes my own custom patch, a TezEdit merged patch, the bashed patch, Percus Maximus, and Dual Sheath Redux. I used to be using as is, but everything that I was using as is for, Perma now does. I was only really using it as is because it adds spells to all the other characters, whereas Perma does that now. But yeah, I've got 245 ESPs, and my total installation list down here says 458, but there's a few that are unticked. So you're probably looking more like 445 mods in total, but again, I've got 445 mods, but only 245 ESPs. That means about half of my mods are just textures or patches or scripts, My actual, if I go to my Skyrim folder, my mod because I'm using Mod Organizer, there you go, my Skyrim folder is only 13 gig. Because in here I've got the ENB and nothing else. However, Mod Organizer, I'll just leave that running for a few moments. I've looked at Requiem quite a bit, but the problem is I used Skyrim for... Well, I used Skyrim since version 0.07. And then I swapped over to Percus Maximus because obviously Percus Maximus is the big bad brother of Skyrim. It's the one that actually works properly with a lot less glitches. Requiem does look amazing. Don't get me wrong. Requiem looks like it would be absolutely fantastic. But that would mean I would have to rebuild my entire mod list from scratch. I'd have to go through every single mod to make... I'd have to go through every single mod on the Nexus, so I'd have to sit here on Mod Organizer and go, right, so I'm using... I'd have to start at the very top and go, right, Birds of Skyrim, is that compatible with Requiem? Deadly Dragons, is that one compatible with Requiem? That's the only reason why I haven't. because it would just take so long to go through and check all 400 odd mods, find out whether they're compatible with Requiem, find out whether there's any patches, then figure out whether I can patch it myself. And that, for me, that's just far too much. It's enough fucking hassle for me just updating my mods. Because at the moment, I'm currently in the process of recording my patching process, because there's a lot of people who want to know how I've managed to get 450 mods installed and I can go 8 hours without a crash. I'm running ENB, I'm running mainly 1K and 2K textures, and I'm getting about 50-60 frames a second from an NVIDIA GTX 670. The main reason I've got it so stable is because my patching process. Because I go through TezEdit and I start at the top and I work my way all the way down the bottom, and I find the conflicts and I patch them. But that means that when I'm finished, my custom patch is going to be about 50-60 meg. The only major downside is that my custom patch takes me about a week to make. But I am slowly in the process of creating my own Skyrim modding guide. But I want to get the patching done first. Once I've got the patch done and those videos sorted... actually, I don't know how well you can find it, but I've actually already got them on YouTube. I've already got a couple of the patches. I'll just... Where's my playlist? There's only 2 videos in this, but that... Oh, thank God it worked. Hopefully you can actually see that link, I'm not sure. But yeah, that link will take you to my Skyrim modding playlist, and that is... Those 2 videos will explain how I run through my patching process and why it works and blah blah blah. But yeah, that's all of my mods. The only one, yeah, I was going to explain dynamic difficulty when you've got the... You know, you got the standard Skyrim difficulty setting. Well, the Skyrim difficulty setting basically works by the higher you set it, the less damage your weapons do, and the more armor enemies have. That's literally all it does. There's just like this scale, you know. On vanilla, you've got maximum damage, minimum armor, and then on super hard, you've got minimum damage, maximum armor. That's about all that happens. But with dynamic difficulty, it actually tweaks that on the fly. So if you go around, when you're playing the game, you can do it all from the MCM menus inside. But you can actually also set it to ignore sneak kills, which is incredibly helpful. But when you're running around, if you go along and you kill a skeever with 16 hits from a bow, it will automatically lower the difficulty level. But then if you go around and you manage to kill a bear by sneezing on him, it's going to raise the difficulty level, you know. So the longer you play the game, the more it adjusts the difficulty according to how hard it's been for you to kill people and how long it's taken you to kill them and stuff like that. When you exit a cave or a building... so when you go from an indoor to an outdoor, when do you get... You're walking inside a cave. You walk up to the door. You push the activate. The game loads. Then you go into the outside world. At what point do you get the lag? Is it inside? Is it just before the loading screen? Just after the loading screen? because different times could mean different things. Yeah, it could be too many world texture mods, but like I say, it depends on when it happens. If he's walking from inside the cave, then pushes active as he pushes activate, gets a massive frame rate loss. That's going to be more to straight after the load. So you get the loading screen, then you get 5 frames, and then you get like after 1 or 2 seconds, it goes back up to 60. That will be because, have I got this right? On the left-hand side of the screen that you're looking at right now, you can see that I've got my little gadgets on here, yeah? Because, right, if I... Right, yeah. Because this is my computer. That's my main screen. And then I've got a second monitor next to my computer. Yeah? So I got all this crap going on here. But... oh, it just stays at 5 frames. It doesn't go back to 60. Well, I know why it'll happen, but there's many things you can do to fix it. But yeah... these little gadgets I've got here, the top one's my CPU, then I got my RAM, then I got my graphics card. But luckily on this, I've also got my graphics card RAM usage. When you go through a loading screen on Skyrim, it automatically clears your RAM and then reloads everything back into your RAM. So you go from a cave where your game only has the cave textures, the NPCs, only everything inside that cave is loaded within your RAM, your VRAM and your system RAM, yeah? You hit the loading screen, all of that gets cleared. Then it starts loading everything again for the outside world. Then it loads into the outside world, and then within a split second, obviously it's too quick to see it, but within a split second, the game goes bang, 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 all the way away from you. So it starts where you are, and it goes ground, trees, rocks, grass, textures, mountains, dragons, people, you know, stuff like that. But at the same time, are you using the latest version of SKSE, and have you tweaked your SKSE config file to use the memory patch? Also, give where's the other ones? Give OneTweak a try. And are you using an ENB as well? If you are using an ENB, make sure you've got the ENB host for the memory patch. If you're not using an ENB, go and have a look for the memory patch, because you can get the ENB memory patch separate. But yeah, so you've got your SKSE thing set with 768 and 256 on your default heap, yeah? Right. There's OneTweak. OneTweak contains the the CTD memory patch. So if you're using an ENB, you should already have this, providing your ENB's been updated to a recent-ish version. But yeah, OneTweak is borderless window and stuff like that, and it's got a couple of memory tweaks going into it as well. But oh yeah, look at that. My mod organizer folder is 56 gig. Look at the grin on this face. 56 gig of mods. Right. So, let's have a think. The only thing that I can think of is memory tweaks. I mean, it's definitely going to be a memory issue. That's a given. If it's only going from when you're from inside to outside, it's not ILSing, so it's not going to be a grids. You haven't tweaked your U-grids, have you? But yeah, as long as you haven't tweaked your U-grids, I would say the best thing to do is go and get hold of the Skyrim Performance Monitor. Yeah, right, two things that have really, really fucking helped me. Please tell me Yui has kept these online. Why is that under review? Ugh. Ugh. Right, I'll tell you what. First of all, yeah, but make sure you've got no Jesus Christ, I cannot speak today. Stable U-grids to load. Even if you're not tweaking U-grids, you should always use that. Use the Skyrim Performance Monitor to keep an eye on what your RAM usage is at. And tell you what, one thing I might do is if I just zip those down. Yeah, you should always keep using the stable U-grids to load, but right, if I can actually click on the correct things. Here is Skyrim. Have a look while you're playing the game. Here you go. While you're playing the game, you'll get this on the inside. So yeah, you'll be able to see. Yeah, but I mean, just because you've got plenty doesn't mean it's working. How much VRAM have you got? How much RAM has your graphics card got? Not your system RAM, your graphics card RAM. Because I've only got 8 gig system RAM, but I've got 4 gig on my graphics card. That's how I'm able to push my game so far. It's like my housemate is actually running the same Skyrim as me, but I've had to remove a couple of texture packs because he's only got 2 gig of RAM. Well, sorry, he's only got 2 gig of VRAM. Maybe you need to start looking at lowering your texture packs. That's all I'm thinking. Just have a look with the Skyrim Performance Monitor to see where your VRAM's at. Obviously, you've got the 3.1 gig error, so try and keep your, just run around Skyrim to the most heavily in-depth places that you can find. Keep an eye on what your system RAM's at. Try to get your system RAM no higher than 2.9. I know the limit is it's called the 3.1 gig error, but I can actually hit 3.3 before that kicks in for me. Some people can only hit like 2.8, but try to keep your system RAM usage in game, the yellow bit up here, try to keep that about 2.7, 2.8, just to give you a bit of leeway, because if you get into a massive battle with a dragon, you want to have a little bit of overflow left, And if you're loading up your game and you're straight away seeing that you're coming out of the cave and you're using you're using 3.2 gig of RAM and your VRAM's up at fucking 5 gig or whatever, you need to start lowering texture packs. It's like, even though my Skyrim game, actually, go away. Right, where's all my screenshots? because I've got some very nice screenshots of my game, and you can see. Nope, not in there. Any fixes for stuttering combat? Again, a lot of it's just RAM usage, unfortunately. Right, there you go. This is what my Skyrim game looks like. Let's just full screen that. Oh, I think I just fucked up. But yeah, this is what my Skyrim game looks like. And I'm getting 2.9, well, about 2.7, 2.8 gig of system RAM. I use about 3.1 gig of VRAM. And you can see there, I was getting, at this specific screenshot area, I was getting like 37 frames. But I've recently updated my A and B, and I'm getting about 40, nearly 50 now. And if I zoom in there, I mean, you can see the detail on all that. Actually, yeah, that's what I mean about the size of the trees. Yeah, so I'm getting some decent detail in that. But, I mean, well, yeah, obviously if you zoom in that much, it's going to look shite. But that's 1K landscape textures. Not 2K, 1K. I use 1K for all of my all landscape textures. I use 2K for indoor textures, and I try to use a blend between the two for things like animals. Armors, I'm using 2K textures. Most indoor textures I'm using 2K, because when you're inside or in caves, your RAM plummets through the floor. But it's just when you're out and about outside, especially when you start modding. I mean, I've got my game, what you've seen, all the new creatures and everything else that I've got added in my game. So it's just helpful to be able to not have so much shit flying around. Unfortunately, a lot of the time there, it's just a case of use every single tweak, use every single fix that you can find, get the unofficial patches, use the memory patches, use an ENB. No, I'm only using 2K Amidian Born. I don't go above 2K. Because, yeah, 4K textures do look absolutely fucking awesome. But when you're actually playing the game, not just sat there giving it, look how amazing this is, but when you're sat there having a decent gaming session, you're not sat there in the middle of a battle chopping someone's head off going, ooh, I do like the texture on his cloak. It doesn't happen. You know, 2K is enough. 4K is great for screenshots and showing off, but not for gameplay. See, unfortunately, because Skyrim does have its limitations, you have to sit there and think to yourself, what's more important? Making this game look as amazing as I possibly can, or making this game play as amazingly as I possibly can? I chose for gameplay. My game did used to look a lot better. I mean, considering this is still fucking awesome. But my game used to look a lot better than it does. But, I mean, look there, you can see. If you look at the grass here, that's not exactly fantastic texture. But you look at the armor, it still looks pretty good. Obviously, I'm zooming in, so please ignore the aliasing, because that's where it actually looks. But, you know, I'm getting some decent frame rates. I'm getting Everything looks fantastic. I've got all the fog effects and everything. For A Mediumborn, you just install it. It just is 2K. I think there's an extra patch for... Hang on a sec, let's have a look, see. I'm trying to skin up. Stop making me do things. No, it's just with A Mediumborn, the textures, they just are. But I know that his textures are 2K. Oh, you came in at the end, man. You came in at the end. How long have I been streaming? Jesus Christ, I've been streaming fuck me. It's taken me 2.5 hours to go through my mod list. But yes, I am not using Sky and Flora Overhaul because, in my opinion, Sky and Flora Overhaul is too intense for Skyrim. For what it adds, it destroys your frame rates and lowers your stability to a point that's really not worth it. I'm getting... Smoking is not bad. Fuck you. We're all going to die of something anyway. Plus, it depends what you smoke. No, I'm using Tamriel Reloaded Grass, and I'm using Simply Bigger Trees. Because personally, I find the mix of those two is just as good, if not better, than Sky and Flora Overhaul. Because Flora Overhaul tweaks and changes the textures for everything that is in the game already, and it adds a fuckload more. Well, put it this way, when I was going through a good couple of months ago, having a major stability overhaul on my game, I was doing a lot of testing with Flora, fuck, I forgot what it's called now, with the performance monitor. I loaded up my game, and I was using 3.2 gig of VRAM. I closed my game, removed Skyrim Flora Overhaul, and reloaded my game, and I was using 2.7 gig of VRAM. I lost like 400-500 meg of RAM just by removing that one mod. Which gave me a hell of a lot more headroom to be able to put other mods in, you know. Because I started going through a point of I really wanted to add more people, more stuff and things. You know, I wanted to populate Skyrim as much as I possibly could. But if you add more people, each person is using the same using a texture, which means each person adds more RAM usage. You know, each animal that you add increases your RAM usage. So if I remove one mod, I remove that one mod, then that gives me 500 meg headroom to be able to put more characters in the game. Then I can just use 2 other mods to make the grass look slightly better and make the trees bigger. It seemed, for me, it was a better option. I actually came online 2.5 hours ago because I am in the process of sorting out my custom patch. I'm about halfway through going through TezEdit, creating my custom patch. You know, just going through TezEdit and copying over values left, right, and center, and this, that, and the other. But I actually came online to stream that, and then somebody about 2.5 hours ago said, "What's in your mod list?" So I went through it all. If you really want to see it all, Twitch is set up to save shit. But I'll tell you what I'll do, just because I'm so unbelievably nice. I am going to go outside and smoke this because I'm a dirty, dirty, nasty person. While I'm outside, I'm going to close down the stream and reboot my computer because I'm currently at 155,000 dropped frames. So I'll drop that down. I'll be back in about 15-20 minutes and I will give people a little run around of my game. How about that? I'm not going to be doing any actual gameplay, but I'll do some running around and show off a few things. Does that sound alright? Cool. Yeah. You watch. I'll load up this game and it'll fucking crash on me straight away, won't it? But I think I'm all ready and set up. I need to go back to the unowned cell because that's what I was doing. Shit. Actually, what's missing from this? Why the fuck did I have? Whatever. Hey, at least it's only 30 seconds. It could be more. But yeah, right now, the time is 9:35. I am going to reboot my computer and hopefully this stream will be a little bit better. Because I do realise that the FPS is absolutely appalling and the stream quality is going to be shite right now because I don't even know why Twitch is just having some really some really nasty fuck ups since they got hacked last week. But yeah, I'm gonna go smoke this and I'll be back in about 15, maybe 20 minutes. So I don't know, people, go make yourselves a coffee, have a shit, you know, whatever. And I will be back soon.